Hi guys, welcome back to Automobile Infos. Today we're going to see the headlight setup in the Mahindra BE6. I'm mainly going to talk about the headlights, but we'll also include DRLs, carpet lamps, etc. I've already posted a detailed video on the ambient lights and how they work. You can click on these links if you're interested in seeing all the features that the ambient lights have. So in the BE6, like in most cars, all the headlight controls are given in this right stalk. So if you see here, this is actually the headlight leveler. So if you see, then when I move the number up, you can see that the headlights move slightly above. Now when I push that scroll wheel down, I'll try to show it. So you see here it is at the edge of the gate, and now if I move it up, you can see that its focus shifts upwards. So what's recommended is you can keep it wherever you feel that you see the road best. So technically, if there is too much load in the boot, the car will lift slightly like this. So if there's load behind, the car will go like this. So you actually move the headlight slightly down in that case. And if there's people sitting in front, so the car will be slightly like this. So you can keep it at a slightly high position, but this is just a recommendation. It is not anything scientific, so you can choose whatever feels natural to you. This is actually to check the headlights. So if I switch it to off, now these are the headlights off, and you can see that the screens get brighter. When I switch it to auto, the screens dim down and the headlights turn on. So in auto, the sensor actually senses if there is light outside. If there is, then it keeps the headlights off. And if you're going through tunnels or if it's night, then the headlights will turn on automatically. These are actually the parking lamps. So if you see here, this is actually the parking lamp. The parking lamps are actually not specific bulbs, it's just the DRLs slightly dimmed out. So the headlights are not on, but the screen still stays dim if you see here. And you can see the indication here as well. And this is actually low beam. You can see the low beam working here. So if you're not on auto, then this is how you manually turn on the headlights. This turns it on automatically, and this is manual. You can give this dipper, pretty standard, and then of course you have high beam where you push the stalk ahead. Now I don't know if you can see, but so right now I'm in low beam. If I give the dipper, I'll show it. Now if I give the dipper, you see, so the focus is mainly around this level, but if I actually turned on the high beam, you can see that the light is a bit more diluted. So what I've observed is that when you're giving the dipper, the auto booster headlamps also work. If you see here, so in the dipper, the boost headlamps also work, and in normal high beam, you see that the boost headlights do not work. This is the normal high beam of the car working. The B6 gets bi-LED projector, so the same projector is used for low beam as well as high beam. Where else do the boost headlights work? They work whenever you go above the speed of 80, so an extra bulb turns on. I'll try to show it if I can. These are the auto booster headlamps. This is the high beam, and of course the DRLs. What that extra bulb gives is that it illuminates the road a little better, and you can see a lot better at night. Actually, it makes a big difference. And so this is pretty standard, but now you might have observed that when you're in auto, and in here, if I go to my vehicle, then exterior, then lights, so you can see that auto high beam is actually on. Now in my case, what I've observed is, if this is on auto and the stock is at the low beam position, the high beam never automatically turns on. So if you go out on the highway, then I keep this in auto and this at high beam. But now you see, so because there is light outside, now my stock is in auto, like the scroll wheel is at auto, but I push it at high beam. It turns on for just a second, but then it switches back to low beam immediately. That is being done by the auto high beam. So now if I turn this off, lights, then auto high beam, So now you can see that the high beam is actually working because the auto high beam from here is turned off. If I turn on the auto high beam, the lights go into low beam even when I've still selected this high beam from here. This is low beam, this is high beam. And when you go to high beam and it is at auto, you can see that it writes high beam auto here. If you also find your car that even at nights when it is super dark, the car does not switch to high beam automatically even when the stock is in auto mode, what you need to do is bring the stock manually to high beam and then it will actually turn on high beam when required. It does not turn on high beam when the stock is in low beam. So that was it. And here you see this. So this is actually to turn on the fog lamps. You can see the front fog lights working here. The BE6 does not get rear fog lights, and that is why this never actually activates. No matter how much you press this button, you can only turn this off or turn on the front fog lamps. You also get cornering lamps. So you see right there, if I turn my steering towards the right, you'll see that an extra light actually lights up. I'll show it on the left side. You saw that? So when I'm tilting my steering, the cornering lamp is actually turning on. Now you see the right side turned on. These are actually the cornering lamps where the fog light of the direction in which you turn the steering will turn on. So these are actually the cornering headlamps and these are the ones that work. And now also the fog lights do not work when your main headlights are off. So if I turn this off and then I actually try to turn this on, this doesn't work. So the fog lights only work when your main headlights are also turned on. Now if I turn these off, the cornering lamps will obviously not work. You can see they do not work. So for the fog lights to work, your main headlights should be on. Now to turn off the DRL, there is no function here, but it is in the screen. In my vehicle, then exterior, then lights. You can turn off the DRL from here. I have turned them on because they look super cool. You can see the difference. It's pretty bright actually. And then you see these carpet lamp patterns, the ones where I open the door and you see the pattern below. In carpet lamp, you have two options, Batman and the normal BE pattern. When you get out of the car, it says goodbye. When your charging is low, it actually shows a battery icon. And sometimes it also writes caution here when either there's an alert in your vehicle or there's a car approaching from behind. That is when it writes caution. I haven't personally experienced it, but some people have actually seen that light pop up. You also have this reverse light that works only when you're in the reverse gear. It turns on automatically and it is also pretty bright and it can make you see at night. The BE6 gets all LED setup. It does not get any halogen lamp whatsoever. So all the headlights work really good. I felt that the headlights low beam is not that bright, so sometimes it can get a little tricky to drive, but the high beam is pretty good honestly. But you do not have much of an option, as I would not like to opt for aftermarket lamps, especially in an EV that gets such complex wiring, and I would not risk voiding the warranty just because of the headlights. They're fine, like you can make it work. They're not the best, but it's not the worst either. So I'll say that it's above average, but the high beam and the boost headlamps work really good and they're actually super helpful at night. And in the interior, you see these roof mounted lights. How do you turn these on? These are actually touch sensitive, so you just swipe your finger like this and you can turn it on and off. Same goes for that side, on and off. Then you also get in the rear, that side and this side as well. These are actually buttoned. These are actually really bright, if you can see. So these were all the headlight controls explained in the Mahindra BE6. If this video helped you, then please give it a like. Subscribe to Automobile Infos for more such content. Comment down below what you'd like to see next. I'll see you in the next one. Drive safe and have a happy journey.